Discord and Facebook. So we're actually live right now. So hey, Steve, just saw you commented. I'm going to give it quite a few minutes though, because we're going live a little bit early. I usually send out the emails and notifications saying we're live when we're not quite live. But tonight we're actually going live a little bit early, so we're going to just kind of say hello to people. So as people come in, I see there's like 30 or 40 people watching already. So basically, you guys that are starting to come in early, I'm going to post a link right now where we're going to give away a free subscription to the Safeguard tier trade on ThetaTraders.com. So I don't know how many of you guys know, are in Theta Traders or not, but if you're not, head over to ThetaTraders.com and look at the different tiers. I'm going to put a link here though for the prize draw that we're doing tonight, because I think a lot of people are interested in getting free stuff. I know I am. And so I'm going to put in a link for entering your email. Just send it in the comments, right? Well, so you should see that right there. Hey, Martin J, how's it going? Saying hello. So that's the link. So if you want to enter your email in, if you get in early, you can get your, basically we're going to choose one of the emails that comes into that link. I'm going to put them into a spreadsheet, and then usually Lance does like a random number generator draw, right, where we just kind of pick a line on the spreadsheet. So if you guys, and this only applies to new customers as well. So you can be in like the lower tiers, like the basically the stock equities option stuff. If you're in that and you're paying like, what was it, $2.97 a quarter or something, and you want to upgrade, well, you can also you can enter for this free subscription. But if you already have like a Safeguard trade or a lifetime or whatever, we're not going to give you your money back or anything crazy like that. So this is supposed to attract new customers. So that's all. Hi, Aaron. Good to see you. I know you said you were going to look forward to coming to hear about the discussion tonight. So yeah, it's going to be good. I think Lance is going to do some presentation. I'm going to tell a little bit of my story about how Lance actually convinced me to start trading futures options. So that was something I'd put off for 8 years or something of my trading career, and since then I've never looked back. This is the main thing that I'm doing now, and continuing to add money to my account. So I'm excited about it. I think people are starting to come in. Should we get started? Do you want to put your presentation up, Lance, and then we can...
Sounds good. Russell, it took you almost, 6 to 8 months of me just bugging you left and right that you need to please. And then you're like, one day. And then you start to do it, and you're like, oh, this is amazing.
Right. I've never looked back, and I'm going to tell part of my story for sure, because I think that helps people see, like, okay, like, this is what this is all about. So, yeah. Steve says there's echoing. Do you hear any echoing? I don't hear any echoing.
Yeah, I don't hear any echo either. Can you see my screen here?
Hey, JJ, how's it going? Yeah, so I'm going to make it full screen. So JJ saying your mic is low, Lance. I hear you fine, but I don't know if there's something you can do quickly to...
Is that a little better? I could talk closer to my mic then.
You do sound a little bit louder now. So
maybe if I do the audio, I don't know. Maybe if I put audio louder on my computer, I'm not sure if it changes the mic audio or not. But okay, I'll try to talk close to the mic then.
For some reason, Bill's saying there's an echo for Lance. Hey guys, I'm seeing your hellos. Hey Leon. Hey Tom, how's it going? Yeah, loads of people coming in. So, I'm not hearing any echo on Lance's side though, so I'm not quite sure what we'd be hearing. But anyway, hopefully it's not too annoying, and you can get around that. We're doing what we always do, so nothing new here.
I'm on my better mic. I'm on my better mic too. If that doesn't work, I'll just do the computer mic. But we'll see how it goes. I'm hearing good and bad.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay, cool. Right. So you guys are just joining. Look up at the top. We put the link to sign up for the free prize draw, basically. So if you look up in the comments here, you'll see that. I'll just repost it again, because I want to make sure we're going to announce the winner of the prize draw like probably 15 minutes before the end. So I just posted it again, so you can go to that link, put your email in, and check out ThetaTraders.com. And ThetaTraders.com, you'll see the different tiers. We're going to be mainly talking about the Safeguard tier tonight, so that's what's up for grabs for a free subscription as well. Okay, well, why don't we get started? People here.
That's good. So general things I'm going to go over is general ideas on why to sell on futures options. a lot of people that have been watching either my YouTube videos or Russell's videos and whatnot have been learning about stock options, selling credit spreads on stocks, 0DTE and whatnot. But I'm primarily a futures option seller, and I'm planning on growing my accounts using the futures options. So I'm going to go over reasons why I prefer those. We'll look at some example trades from the Safeguard membership. We'll be looking at a covered strangle trade that's actually been the highest performing in the last year and a half. And we'll look at the Safeguard trade. We'll look at results from last year and this year so far. And then we do have a special membership opportunity for you guys. So why do we sell options on futures? Options use what's called span margin. It's very similar to portfolio margin if you have a large, $200,000-$300,000 account. But what's good about span margin in futures, you could do this with a much lower account size. You could actually start this with as little as $2,000 and open up your brokerage account.
Lance,
futures. Yes.
Sorry, Lance, I don't mean to interrupt, but people are saying you are fading in and out a little bit, and that's what I'm hearing too. So I'm wondering if your new mic has like you might want to change it because I hear you fading in and out a little bit too. He's going to come back, hopefully. It's not just me like sitting here. So JJ's saying it's seriously terrible. I started to hear it too. So he's going to relog in and then hopefully we can get going. So yeah, I started to hear it as well. And it's just like, okay, we need to get this sorted. So hopefully Lance actually comes back and it's not just me talking, but okay, Lance is reappearing. So to stage here. All right.
Mike, is this a little bit better? Sorry about that.
I can hear it fine. Let's see what other people are saying. How are you guys hearing them now?
I'm just on computer mic. When I use my nano mic, sometimes it cuts off, so I'm not sure. I'm going to just stay on this one. It might be a little harder to hear me, but it shouldn't break up. So sorry about that, guys.
So is that better for you guys? Okay, Steve Duncan's saying it's good. I hear it fine now too. So yeah, let's just keep going. So you want to share your presentation again? All right. Okay. So just show sometimes fancy things don't pay off, right? Like it's a fancy mic.
Sometimes keeping stuff simple is actually better. So yeah. All right. Better no echo. Sorry about that again. All right. So let me go over this again. So why do we sell on futures? Span margin is similar to portfolio margin, but you could do this with a much lower account size. Actually, it opened up Tasty Trade in around September 2022 with only $2,000. And I was able to get futures approved. If you join any of the membership we have, I could walk you through how to answer the questions in the application to get all the approvals for as many futures as you can. I personally use Tasty Trade. Tasty Trade has been very good on the buying power requirements. If any of you guys use Thinkorswim, just recently they merged with Schwab and they're using a lot more in their margin requirements. It still could work in a good strategy, but Tasty Trade would be preferred. And I could go over the reasons why one-on-one if you'd like. What's also interesting is you can go really safer strikes and go even further out of the money on positions because you're using this leverage in the span margin. Now, leverage is a two-sided sword, so to speak. Like Star Wars Episode 1, you had that Darth Maul guy with a double lightsaber. So it could be really good if you use it effectively because you could have a lot of leverage to be able to get good premiums and good money off it. But if you don't know what you're doing, it could easily hurt you because you are fairly leveraged on some of these. One of the main things that I look at is it can be very passive. You could make it active if you like to, but as we're going to go over, me and Russell, we want to make sure that we're doing stuff where we're not going to be spending our time glued to the screens all day. We have jobs to do, and I'm helping out members at thedatrators.com as well. So a lot of the trades I do are very passive in general. So again, pretty busy teaching. I'm a full-time science teacher, teaching chemistry and physics, my 10th year at my second school that I'm at. I run thedatrators.com, so I help members individually and small group sessions and get questions in throughout the day on different positions that we have in stocks and in futures. So pretty busy. I'm going to look really far out in expiration. I do some 0DTE with stocks, but for futures, I'll typically go minimum 30 days, and some of them I'll go 90, even 120 days out. So once you do those trades, it may not seem like you're going to make much money, but it's very passive. It's very far out of the money by doing that. and it's a safer trade to make. So you don't have to be glued to your screen all day looking to see, oh no, SPY went down 0.5%. That's going to pretty much be a non-factor for us. Okay. So I want to see where my positions are during lunch, and then I'll make the trades during lunch. Very easy for people to enter and close trades out. And then I can also adjust or take profits and move on with my life afterwards. And that is one of the main things that I wanted to do, because I'm teaching all day. I don't want to be trading. So during my lunchtime, I pretty much have a working lunch, just helping out and members and making my futures trades. So Russell, you want to give a few words, and you can share your screen at this point on why you're selling futures and why you like this plan so much? Can you hear me, Russell? Are you there?
Yeah, for sure. Let me just pull up my screen. So I'll start on my slides right here. Can you guys see that, or we've not switched yet? It looks like it's lagging a little bit. I'll get rid of that one. Okay, so last year, probably around this time, Lance decided to start talking me into trading futures, and I put off trading futures or even selling options for probably 8 out of the 10 years that I'd been trading at that point. And so the one thing I was doing at the time, though, is my wife was pregnant and we were looking to have our first baby, and basically we're looking to upgrade our crappy Honda Civic, which we're not really car people, and cars have never really appealed to me, but we were thinking we need something a little better. So what you're seeing on your screen is the actual car that we bought for the, to accommodate the new baby and the stroller and everything that comes with it. And so my whole thing was, if I trade options with Lance, I don't want to be doing any extra work, right? So basically I just want to be using this for like a free money thing. And it sounds bad saying free money, but it really was basically free money. So Lance showed me how to sell these options trades every Sunday. That's how it started. And so I started with just thinking to myself, okay, normally I'd buy a new car outright. Like I'd just put down the cash, I'd buy the car, I wouldn't want to pay interest on a financing loan and all that. But in this case, I thought, you know what, I can make more money if I keep the capital and actually finance the car. So what I did is I took the capital that I would have normally put down. This is a $33,000 RAV4 2023 model. And I took basically the capital I'd normally use, and I invested it into the futures trades that Lance does every Sunday. And so the idea was, could I make enough to make a car payment every single month and some on top of that? And the answer was absolutely yes. I was making several $100s a month with the money that would have just gone to the car company, just by doing the once a week trades with Lance. So what I decided to do is to really triple down on this. So instead of doing that, instead of just leaving like 20,000 in the account and using that to pay the car payment, I said to myself, why don't I put like more in and then just pay off the car within a few months? And that's actually what happened. I paid the car off at the end of last year just using ThetaTraders.com's futures trades money. So I basically just paid for a car basically by doing nothing, because essentially I was doing like 3 trades a week. Takes like a minute to enter the trade, and everything was winning just over and over. It was just like basically it was phenomenal. So I know this isn't a fancy car. I'm not a car person. I could afford a lot more expensive car if I wanted one, but really it's just from getting A to B. So I'm not trying to brag here saying I've got a RAV4. I mean, that would be a pretty bad brag, right? Like it's like the most common car sold in America or something next to the Honda Civic. My point is, like, this is my first ever brand new car. And I don't buy brand new, but the craziness of this market with used cars makes it like not much of a difference, right? You might pay 25,000 for a used RAV4 or 33,000 for a brand new one. So we went for new. Anyway, the story is basically I used the money from the futures trades to basically pay for this car within, I think, about 6 months or so. It felt like a free car, so it was really cool. So the other things I wanted to say before Lance continues is in the Discord, in Sidekick Traders Discord, Alan. This guy Alan, he's awesome. He talks all the time about like really smart stuff, and he was basically saying, like, if you're in any sort of alert service, you're probably going to be better off in Theta Traders because of the reasons you're seeing on the screen here. So he was really blunt about it, but he's honest. It's an honest thing. So 99% of the traders in this Discord, which is Sidekick Traders, but in my opinion, it's any Discord as well, it's going to do better. They're going to do better with Lance's system because of the high win rate. So I've only lost one trade out of hundreds and hundreds that I've done with Lance, and that makes it to the point where I don't hesitate like entering a trade. I'll just place a trade and forget about it. Like, I won't worry. There's no stress. There's no time commitment. There's just nothing. It's like free money essentially, which is just totally awesome. I mean, it's really good. And so he's saying it's kind of a ironic situation, and this sounds complex, so that new traders tend to get put off by it. But in reality, the complexity is what makes it easy. And so you need somebody like Lance to help guide you through it. But at the end of the day, it's actually easier than sitting there like a crackhead, like typing away with 10 monitors, trying to like, you know, make as much as you can day trading or whatever. So it's definitely worth listening to Alan. He's had some great success in trading, and he's saying that most people, 99% of people that are trading, would be better off trading a system like Lance's or with Theta Traders. And basically, this quote down here at the bottom: the two most powerful warriors are patience and time. Really do pay off with Lance's system, in my opinion. And so it's not just me. There's lots of other people that are using Theta Traders, and especially the futures trades, and they've been doing really well. So here are a couple of testimonials. One I sent out via email. If you're not on my email list, this person, I think, is a 66-year-old woman, she says, and she basically has made 20 times what she paid for the lifetime inner circle, so the top tier service, and she did that in just 7 months. And she doesn't say how much capital she's using, but you can kind of figure out how much that is from the percentages that we'll be talking about as well. So yeah, so that's really my story about you know, what I've been doing with Lance. And I think it's something that you guys should really be aware of, is like, this might sound complicated, but it's really simple once you get into it. And the hope is that Lance can make it simple for you. So yeah. Anyway, Lance, that's all I've got to say about that. Do you want to continue with your presentation?
Yeah, let me share my screen.
Yep. I hope it inspires some people. Like, I was not somebody who wanted to sell options. I've been a day trader for a decade. So
can you see my slides?
Yep.
All right. So let's go over some of the actual trades that I do very regularly. This is the first example. This is called the covered strangle. And I do this on MES, which is the futures. Again, using that span margin with the leverage available to make pretty good returns off it. So in a covered strangle, you're going to be typically buying either 100 shares of stock or buying one futures contract, and then selling a call against it and selling a put against it. You're willing to be taking in twice of the initial outlay. So you're willing to take at least 200 shares of stock or 2 contracts. We do this where on thetatraders.com, we're going to be selling 2 puts to start the trade. It saves a bit on commissions this way, and it's a safer trade because what I did here is MES at the time was at 50.53, so a bit higher than the 48.40 and 47.30 strike prices that I have here, and did it 50 days out to make a good amount of time, good amount to be out of the money on these trades. And we sold 2 puts against it, sold one a little closer to the money at the 48.40, sold one even further out at 47.30. We're willing to get assigned on these contracts if it actually gets lower than these prices at expiration. But we took in 43.25 credit for this trade. MES has a 5 multiplier. So anytime you see a certain credit number, you want to multiply that by 5. So that's about $215 or so that I took in on this trade. What's interesting about the trade is you only need about $1,400 in buying power to actually take the trade. So if you just do the math there, you're looking at, 15, 20% return. Excuse me, about 15 or 20% return in about 50 days. We're going to be closing these out, and I typically look at a 75% profit. So I'm essentially going to take the 43 times it by 0.25, and then we're going to get about 10.9 credit, and then we're going to actually buy it back at that point, and then we can redeploy our capital and do it over and over again. So really interesting trade. We're willing to get assigned on these. I look at different technical indicators, expected moves to determine the strikes that are still relatively safe, but these take in a good amount of premium. I'm actually going to skip ahead a little bit and show the year to date for this particular strategy. This is all from 2023 that I started a trade on the 14th of December into the current trade, which is a 48.40, 47.40. These are all the different futures prices. If you look at the strike prices, these are always a few hundred points below the current price. So we have that nice margin of safety there. If the market drops a little bit, not freaked out about it because you still have a lot of ways to go from it. Then we're looking at the premium, times it by 5 to get how much money we're collecting. We're looking at $150, $200 or so every time we do this. And again, we only need about $1,400 in buying power. We're going to leave a little bit of extra cash on the sidelines because it does have span margin and it is a bit leveraged. So we're going to typically leave about $3,000 for this strategy. I've never actually needed the full $3,000, by the way, but just for a conservative number, if it goes below the lower price here, you're going to want to have about $3,000 for the trade. Outcome so far, we have not got assigned on any of these yet. We got relatively close on one in early April when the market dropped a bit, but then it stayed where it was, recovered slightly, and then we're able to get out of the trade as well. And you can see these returns. These returns are typically in about 18 to 25 or so days out. So it's not a lot of time that we're actually in the trade. It's also very passive. You enter the trade, you wait until it hits the target profit, and then you get out of it or you manage it if needed. Last year, we only got assigned, I think it was 3 times total for the whole year of 2023 as well. We'll leave it up for some questions at this point. If anyone has any questions, you can leave it up on the chat on the covered strangle strategy. This is part of the Safeguard Trade program, so you'll actually get access to these as well.
It's interesting. There's not very many questions tonight. There's quite a few people watching, but there's very few questions coming up. Normally, we're inundated with questions, but I guess there's not a lot of questions. I'm mentioning the fact that I'm happy to share my own brokerage account and let people check out, the trades, roughly what we're in at the moment, like what sort of things, and talk about that at some point during the presentation as well. There's a couple of questions coming in now, though.
Right, I'm reading them here. So what was the exact hedge for the puts? We're not hedging these particularly, but I do hedge against the whole account. And any members in datatraders.com get access to the hedging strategies that I do. And these we're willing to get assigned on 1 or 2 of those puts. And then we could do essentially the wheel strategy on those. We could sell calls against it if needed. I'm just going to read these out in the order they came in.
Yeah, I'll put them up on the screen too. So Leon's saying, so that people that don't, it's sometimes okay. So I put Leon's comment up. What level of options permission?
Stop my screen real quick. Okay, levels, options, permissions. You actually just need to get approved for futures, and it's a separate application that you do. It's pretty straightforward, very similar to options approval. And then for futures approval, you just do a separate application. I'll help you exactly how to answer the questions properly, so you'll get actual approval for it. And then you could do any of the option future strategies that I'm talking about.
How many positions will you have open at a time? I can show you my account in a little bit, and I follow most of his trades. I do some on my own too, because the cool thing is Lance teaches you how to fish. So I've learned how to fish, but also follow his alerts, but sometimes alter them to suit my own needs a little bit. So we're going to go through that pretty soon as well. But
I'll answer this question based on the covered strangle, and then there's a different answer for the safeguard trade. For the covered strangle, I'm going to do one of these at a time. So I'm willing to get assigned on 1 or 2 of those naked puts, and then I'm going to wheel them out until we get out of those trades, and then we enter in a new one. You could do this with if you have a large account, you can do this with ES instead of MES. Essentially multiply everything by 10, and then you'll get the similar results, just times 10 on it.
Why was there a gap in time on those trades you just had up? Were you trying to fudge something, Lance? Or
That was because we were waiting for that trade to actually get the profit. So when I showed a trade for February, we need to wait about 30 days or so before we closed it out. And then we entered in another trade when that closed out. That's why there was a little bit of a gap there.
And so Steve Duncan has this a bit wrong. I think $3,000 to make 1330. It doesn't sound like it's correct.
No, that's technically right.
Is
So
it?
far
Okay.
in this strategy, we made 1330 this
I need
year.
to take more of these.
Yeah, you should. That's the next one that you got to try out because I keep pushing. Keep learning how to fish even more. Yeah, we
Okay,
did
so
1330, and last year I'll show in the results later. We over doubled the account. We made more than $3,000 last year on this strategy alone, off just the initial $3,000 we have.
So it's worth bearing in mind. I don't copy Lance exactly. So when I show my brokerage results and the positions I have and the results for this year, you can be a lot better. We have one guy who's done double what I've done, basically, in terms of percentage gains. And he's probably been doing more of these strangles, for example, than I have. So results can vary, is basically the bottom line.
And what's interesting about the covered strangle is if you get assigned on one or two of those contracts, there's a lot of ways to make it a more conservative trade. You could lower your break even greater, or if you want to be aggressive when assigned, you could sell those calls out of the money and then make money on the actual contracts as well. So it's very flexible. Even when you do get assigned, you could be conservative, a little more aggressive. I'm somewhere in the middle between the two, but I get a lot of questions from members all the time on, hey, I want to be a little more aggressive. I think the market's going to bounce back up, and then we'll walk through exactly what to do with that case.
The Kakinator is asking what happens if you get assigned and you have only 3,000 in the account.
Yeah, you would be fine in pretty much every case on these because you're going to be selling calls against the contracts and then taking in premium there as well. If you're running relatively low on funds, you would want to go in that more conservative route. You could even sell in the money calls against those positions. You would lose a little bit on the actual contract, but you would take in even more premium and lower your break even and your cost basis that way.
So Andy's asking pretty much the same thing. Is 3K enough to cover the assignment in that case?
Yeah,
So
on Tasty Trade it is. On Thinkorswim, you're really pushing it a bit with the new margin requirements, but 3,000 is enough for both contracts to be assigned.
When assigned, how much does the contract cost? Same thing.
Same question. What you guys could do is go on Thinkorswim if you have it, or Tasty Trade. Actually, try to buy an MES contract, and you'll see the initial buying power. It's typically around $1,200 to $1,300 to get assigned on one contract. However, when we're selling these covered strangles at a lower strike, you actually need a little bit less than that because it's at a lower strike. So if you do say about 1,100 times 2, you're at 2,200, and then you're going to be selling calls, taking in money during it. So 3,000 has been more than enough ever since I've been starting this strategy.
So Miss Kakinator's asking, saying Schwab is not a good fit for a lower account amount to start with. No, Tasty Trades is better. So.
Yeah. I actually mentioned this on the Discord, and I know Aaron's already a member of Data Traders. Yes, you could do this on Tasty Trade. I'd highly recommend it over Thinkorswim, especially when last night, actually, when the merger finalized and Thinkorswim and Schwab are together, they increased the margin requirements.
Yeah, and this is the kind of insight you get when you join thetatraders.com. People always think, oh, this is easy, I can just do this myself. But like, honestly, Lance teaches me something almost every day. Like earlier today, we were talking about BIL, right? BIL. And you already gave me some extra insight. And I've been trading for a year or so more, with you. And you already gave me some extra insight into that. And I'm making another $100 passive income a month doing absolutely nothing just from one little thing Lance said to me. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm going to implement that. So, yeah, so I'm still going through the questions here. 17 for margin. Can you do futures in an IRA? This is something that comes up over and over again, isn't it? Can you do futures in an IRA? I've put it up on the screen.
You could do futures in an IRA. I'm not sure if Schwab will do it. You probably need a pretty large account for that because Schwab's a little more stringent on it. On Tasty Trade, I have a lot of members that are doing the same strategies in the IRA. You do need a little bit more buying power in the IRA compared to a regular brokerage, though.
Yeah, and that's something to bear in mind too. So Leon wants us to show in real time how to place a trade using TOS. I don't think this is the place to do that. Like right now, I think that's more for like inside data traders to show something as like specific as how to place a trade on Thinkorswim.
I have a lot of video guides on that, and I walk through people exactly how to place the trades there as well.
So Lance, should I go through my own account right now, or do you want to continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm not desperate to do this. I just want to make sure.
You do that. I'll answer questions in the chat while you talk there.
Okay, that sounds good. So yeah, you do that. Let me just take this question down and then start putting up my own stuff here. Just because I think it's good to show people like a real account that's like really being run by somebody who's like being honest. And I think this industry, I'm always an advocate for honesty and transparency in the industry, and that's why I do a lot of the reviews that I do on this channel, and basically, you know, I think it's good to see somebody doing something for real. And you know, so I've just put up my Tasty Trade account right here. Lance was the one that told me to open a Tasty Trade account, so I was a total noob. I was still using Thinkorswim, and so hopefully you guys can see kind of what's up on the screen here. I'll make it full screen. It's always hard to see numbers and things, but I just logged into my Tasty Trade account like right now, so this is live. I've hidden my account number. I found a way to do that, by the way. I don't know if you know how to do it, Lance, but I found a way to do it. So it hides your account number. Unfortunately, it also hides your net liquid as well. But you can see, like, so year to date, so you can't fake this stuff. Like, I can't Photoshop this. I can't, you know, like, profit year to date is $9,500. And so that comes to me like it's about $2,000 a month of totally passive income. And for me, that's not a lot of money, but it's money that I'd rather have than not have, right? So like, I don't do anything for this money. I basically just like press a couple of buttons a few times a week and just be like, click, 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 boom. And you can see the trades that we're in. So you can see the different symbols here. And if you're totally brand new to this, you're probably confused out your mind. I know I was originally, but on the left here, you can see the symbols. This is just basically oil futures, and still oil futures, just a slightly different version of it. So it can get a little confusing when you see these screens, but Lance goes through all the stuff inside Theta Traders, and it becomes very obvious and easy to do. And so then ES is the market overall, right? So you have some ES trades on at the moment, and GC is gold. So we also trade gold futures as well. And so there's like a kind of a diversity here between the different markets, which is nice. And so you can see right now, like I have quite a few trades that are green and then a couple that are slightly red, but you can see the days to expiration are quite long on these ones. And basically we still have a lot of time. So you basically let time decay and let these, basically all these options decay away, and then you collect the entire premium that some buyer paid for these. And it's really straightforward and simple. I'm not going to expand all of these because basically if I expand them all, you get to see the exact strategies that we teach in Theta Traders. And we're not going to give away absolutely everything tonight, but the underneath each one of these like headings, I can expand these and you see all the different trades inside. But for example, like this top one on oil here, this is saying I have a 99.5% chance of this being profitable, which is insane. And that's what comes down to basically. Some of these are hedges, by the way, as well. So it's worth noting that this one's a hedge, this ES. So you have to be careful. When I say I've never lost a trade, or I think I've lost one gold trade ever, I've also lost some hedges, but that was from panic buys that I did when the market was doing something crazy. So I have lost on hedges, but I have never lost on any of the Theta Trader strategies except for one gold naked put, I think, which was only like $1,000 or something. So nothing too ridiculous. But yeah, so if there's any questions about what I'm doing with this strategy and like what these are or anything, just let us know in the comments. You getting any questions on that?
No, I've just been answering questions on the comment section already. I think we're good.
Okay. I see Bill saying how many percent of your buying power do you use? So I push it a little bit harder than a lot of people do. So I tend to go like this isn't the best potential thing to do, right? So I tend to say, hey, I'm not prepared to lose trades. I want this to be set it and forget it. So I'll go for like, really far out of the money, and then put in more contracts and use like 80% of my buying power. Lance's recommendations are a bit different. We're all a little different about our own risk reward. I know I can always add money to my account, and I'm consistently adding money to my account every month, or every few months I add like 20 grand or 10 grand, or, and so I'm not concerned about a margin call. So you have to, when you're thinking about that sort of question about how much are you using, for me at the moment, I have about 100 grand in the account, so you can see I still have 37,000 or something available. But that's not necessarily like, I don't really care, because like if I'm going to keep selling options on this, and if it goes to 20 grand buying power, I'm just going to add more money to the account, because I'm growing my accounts, how much is in the account. So for me, it's a little different. I'm more aggressive. But for other people that maybe don't want to keep adding money, you'd want to keep that like at 50-50. So only use half of your buying power. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I think
let's go over the safeguard trade while we're here, I guess.
All right.
I like all these questions though. They're very useful and helpful. But I do want to share the safeguard trade because that's actually a larger percent of my account.
Okay. I'll switch over to this thing. Okay.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yep, can see it fine.
All right, so part of the safeguard strategy and safeguard membership, you will get those covered strangles as well. That's a extra bonus that some people aren't even aware of. So that's why I wanted to bring that up. The main trade, and it's about 75% of my account, is the safeguard trade. Now, the safeguard trade is very similar to what Tom is asking about. You set a trade and you wait until it expires and you set it and forget it. We added another level to this trade where we actually have some protection in as well. So this is a trade I did, excuse me, in February, where we sold 2 naked puts at $39.50 strike price. MES at the time was about 5,000. And then we bought a put debit spread as a hedge below it. So here I bought a 4,700 put and I sold a 4,650 put. This makes it a put debit spread where you can make up to the width of these strikes. So if you subtract these two, you get a 50 width, and then you do 50 times the 5 multiplier for MES, you can make an extra $250 on just the hedge, in addition to the amount of premium that you collect from selling the naked puts. So it's essentially selling 2 naked puts, buying a put debit spread as protection. Okay. Now in this trade, I do this one regularly. Every 2 weeks, I'm going to be adding on a new one. When the market volatility increases, I'll add additional trades as well. So I did a really long dated 180 or so days out a few weeks ago. Sometimes I'll do some shorter dated ones, 60 to 90 days out. But this is a very typical trade I'll do in the safeguard trade, typically around 120 days out. We're going to be selling 2 naked puts at a pretty low delta. This is only a 0.06 delta, which means it's really far out of the money. We're over 1,000 points out of the money at the time. And then we're going to be buying that protection with the debit spread. So what's great about this trade is as you put them on every 2 weeks or regular campaign of it, you're going to be getting many of these hedges in place. So if the market takes a small downturn, it's actually not necessarily bad for you. It could actually be better because these could profit even more than what just this would make. Does that make sense, everybody?
Makes sense to me, but it didn't a year ago. So hopefully people are completely new to this, follow this. It's not as hard as it sounds if you're completely new. I know there'll be a wide spectrum of people watching this, but this is not nearly as difficult or as complex as you think it is if you're brand new to the idea.
Exactly. I just saw Tom said, how will this trade lose? If the trade will have to go really, really far out of the money, pretty much like a black swan type of event, where if it goes below the naked puts at the 39.50, you still could be at a profit because of this debit spread, but if you have another 50 points of protection from it. So essentially it's 39.50 minus about 50 points. It's a little less than that because we sold 2 instead of 1 contract here. But if it gets way below that 39.50, then this particular trade could start to lose. However, remember, we're adding these on every 2 weeks in a regular schedule. So then the next trades that we do will be even lower than this strike. And then as you see the market, when it takes some big downturns, it typically recovers relatively quickly. And then you could profit even more in some of those other trades.
Yeah, good explanation. So So I'm a fan of like I actually just often just sell these naked, so I'll just do the -2 part of things. But that'll come to bite me in the butt once the market starts to downturn, and all the people that are doing the safeguard trades will actually make more money because in a down market you'll make more money generally because you'll end up in that trap. And so you'll make money on those sold puts, the -2 ones, but you'll also make money on the hedge as well. And so that's what we saw in 2022 is the market downtrended basically. And the VIX was high, so you ended up getting good premium, and then you'd end up with safeguard trades paying off dramatically. So people that think that, maybe, let me just hang on, let me just, how would you do stop losses? There's a lot of questions coming. I don't just want to ramble, so we're going to focus on the questions.
All right. I'll answer. Margin for this trade. Okay, so for an MES safeguard trade, we use $1,100 total amount of initial margin plus the cash we're leaving on the side. On Tasty Trade, this uses about $600 or so in initial margin requirement, and then we leave another $500 or so in cash. If you do this with ES, multiply that by 10. And I am doing some ES safeguards as well. Average rate of return per trade, I'll answer that later. It's one of my slides. But I typically look for around 12, 13% in the 120 days. So if you divide that out by 4 months, you're looking at 3 to 4% a month on these trades. And that's assuming that the trap doesn't hit at all. Sometimes that trap hits and you make even more than that. Would I use stop losses? I do use stop losses, Martin. It's based on the amount of premium that we collect and the possible max profit that we use. Does the Safeguard membership include any portfolio management training? I do offer at least one Zoom call if you just sign up for Safeguard trades. If you sign up for the Inner Circle membership of everything, you can do up to 5 of those. And I actually spend a lot of my evenings working with people on portfolio and how to properly allocate their positions, how to hedge appropriately, and like what percent to use in each strategy. What if the market takes longer to bounce? The worst that could happen? Theoretically, the worst that could happen is you're stopping out on a lot of these trades. We're not going to let it go to 0 and then hit the max loss scenarios on any of these. So worst that could happen is you stop out on quite a few of these. But I do have hedging strategies in addition to the hedge that's part of that safeguard trade. At one point in mid-April, when Israel and Iran were fighting and they were shooting missiles, some of my hedges were worth like $1,500 profit. So they were definitely like cushioning the blow on some of these other things. Steve says, speaking of VIX, is there an IV I'm looking for? The levels of premiums may be too low. Good question. I do these on as a campaign. So I'm putting these on regularly every 2 weeks. And it doesn't matter what the VIX is for those campaign trades. When the VIX eventually spikes up, I will look into doing additional safeguard trades that will give bigger protection. We did one recently as a 300 width instead of 50 widths.
Yeah, that was part of that. One thing to point out here is when we're talking about VIX, we also have to talk about commodities as well, right? So what I do is when VIX is really low, like on the main market on ES, I'll look at the other ones, like I'll look at oil and I'll look at gold, and I'll see if those particular volatility indexes are high. And so I'll take those trades rather than take the trades on ES to capitalize on the higher premium on the other commodities. That might be a little bit too much detail for the safeguard. I don't think in the safeguard trade people get oil and gold, right? They just get the ES trades, right? And the
they're getting the ES, but if they do the Inner Circle, you'll get everything from gold.
Right.
Oil,
that's the advantage of doing the Inner Circle. You get the ability to learn about these other commodities too, where you can basically say, hey, gold is now very volatile, so the premiums are really high. So I'm going to concentrate some, selling on gold rather than on ES. So, and that's been the situation recently. Well, over the last 6 months or so, VIX has been pretty low until recently, actually, on ES. And so the volatility on gold and oil has been higher. And so we've been making more money on gold and oil than on ES with this strategy.
Exactly.
So diversity.
Last question from Tom. Is assignment a thing with these, or stop loss comes first? You could get assigned if it goes below the naked puts. And it also depends on if you're selling it at the expiration of the contract or if it's a non-expiration date. most of the trades we do are not expiration date. Those would get assigned after expiration, though. You wouldn't get early assigned on these. If you sold it at the expiration date, which does occasionally happen, that would be cash settled at that point. However, the stop loss will come first pretty much every time on these.
I've never been assigned.
I've never been assigned once yet. So,
yeah. No, I wouldn't. I consider, and this is probably a wrong thought process, but I don't consider being assigned as a possibility for me. Like I'll always stop out because I'm usually always doing ES and or for me assignment is not, it's not good. Like I'd rather stop out at 3x loss rather than get assigned. Because I tend to go at it a little bit harder. I'm not just doing one MES contract. I'm doing like 5 ES contracts at a time. And that to me, that's not, I don't want to be assigned on that. So it's something you have to tailor for your own kind of strategies.
In my trading plan that I have posted, if I do an MES safeguard, I'm actually okay getting assigned on it and then selling calls through the wheel strategy. But for ES, we're going to stop out earlier on it just because it's a much larger account and more leverage there. So yeah, I do actually treat those slightly differently depending on if it's MES or ES.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go over the results for this year, and then I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the
who wins it for you on here.
Yeah.
All right.
So 2023 results, just real quick. These are the average monthly returns that we've gotten in 2023. It was a really good year. The market didn't drop too much. When it did drop in like late October, early November, we actually made more money in the November trades. So we've been making, my goal is 2.5% a month. And most months we've been more than increasing that. Some months will be a little bit lower because we're going to close them out on the previous month. Like April was a really good month last year. So May was a little bit less just because we already closed out a lot in April. November was a really good month because a lot of those trap profits hit in the put debit spreads that were paying off as well. Initially because the market dropped and then the market shot up afterwards. And I was doing shorter term safeguard trades. Had a really good end of November into December. So the average was 3.8% per month, which is a really good return to make, which is very consistent as well, making a profit every month last year. For 2024, currently, this is I mentioned it before, the covered strangle trade. Again, you're using $3,000 total for this because once you do one trade, you're waiting until the next one closes out, and then you enter a new one. So we're up $1,339 off $3,000, almost 50% return on this. Last year in the 2023, and by the way, the full 2023 spreadsheet is posted on datatraders.com. It shows every strike, every premium, all the results from every trade that I did. That's over a $3,000 gain from 2023 on this strategy. And then this is the safeguard trades year to date for 2024. Again, you use about $1,100 in your initial buying power plus cash we leave on the side. And the overall returns, again, we're looking usually around 10 to 12% in most trades. A few of these are a little bit lower just because I got out of them quicker. And you'll see the monthly return. I just take the overall return, divide by the 4 months. Some of these are going to be, relatively good in that case, where the average is about 4% per month on these trades. This is the total account currently in my futures account, up $6,487. I started a little under $60,000. So we're at about 10% for the year so far, just in 4.5 months or so. So if we keep this going, we could get a good 30% year-to-date return possibly.
Even if the market goes down, and that's the key thing, even if the market goes down, the chances of us making money is very, very high. So It's worth pointing that out because I think people see the 30% and they say, oh, well, couldn't you just, buy SPY stuff? And you're like, nope, actually, no, that's not true. Like your SPY could end up negative and we could still end up 20% up, 30% up. So
exactly.
I think it's important to point out.
All right, we can leave any questions and then we'll do the giveaway and the special offer at this point.
Yeah, so Lance, I've seen the giveaway is now closed. So anybody who entered is now on my spreadsheet. and we only have 38 entries, so it's actually a lot less than normal. So what we could do is Lance could do like a random number generator between 1 and 38, and whoever's email appears on my spreadsheet will announce the winner for that. So we should probably do that sooner rather than later, because we also want to, yeah.
I'm going to share my screen on the super high-tech advanced random number generator that I Googled. Can you see that on your screen?
Not yet. I'll add it to the stage and then you'll see it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. I can't. The problem is you can do this and this is great, but then I can't really show the spreadsheet of emails because you like giving away people's privacy stuff. So.
Yeah.
But I promise I'll be doing this there.
38 was it?
JJ, sorry, it's too late. Yeah, we're winding up, so we're just gonna do the prize draw and then yeah. So 38. So between 1 and 38, and then I'll
drum roll, please. And click 36.
All right, so let me just look at 36. I'm gonna put this in, but I'm not gonna tell the full. Like, I'm gonna email the person directly. What I'll do is I'll give some of the email address and then put asterisks in the other part, so that if you're still watching, you'll know that you've won before I have a chance to email you once we finish the presentation. So I'm going to put in the email address that's number 36 in the spreadsheet. Now, I hope you're not an existing customer, because if you're an existing customer, then you're not going to get a refund on your on your your thing. But here's the email that won. And so if you're still watching, you're going to see it in the comments right here. So hopefully you see the email. So Shab, something 3 AOL.com. You've won the free subscription. So it's an $1,100 lifetime subscription for completely for free. We'll follow up with email. So we'll email you if you're still watching this. If you're not, you're going to get an email anyway. So we're going to let you know that you've won this free subscription for that sells currently for $1,100 for lifetime on thetatraders.com. So congratulations if you're Shab at something 03 or 3 at AOL.com. So that's good.
Well, we're not going to be offering it for everyone for $1,100, Russell. Do you want to show your current offer?
Yeah, so normally it's $1,100, and we do payment plans and things on that. So if you want to do that, you can head over to Theta Traders or email Lance or whatever. But tonight we're doing a deal, so we're doing like an annual for a lot less than that. So if you're interested, this is the link to sign up for the Safeguard Trade tier. So it's worth checking out thetatraders.com. But that link that I just posted is also the link that will get you access for a year, and I think it's only $5.97, right? Let me share my screen. I'll load it up and we can talk about what you actually get. This might take me a second though. My computer's being a bit annoying. And so one of the best things about this though is whatever you do on Theta Traders is you get Lance, and Lance is worth a lot more than a lot of people would. A lot of these gurus and things like that. So Lance basically helps people one-on-one for almost nothing, essentially. He's absolutely dedicated to this. And it's one of the reasons that I love working with Lance so much. So let me just share the screen about what you get if you sign up for the link that I just shared. Let me see what window I'm in here. This one right here. Share this one. All right, can you guys all see that? So it says Safeguard Trade yearly. So this is an annual subscription. You're responsible for canceling if you don't want to continue after a year. I don't want to see anything like people saying, "Oh, I canceled. I thought I canceled or I forgot to cancel." You have to make sure that you cancel the subscription since it's a yearly subscription. We do have a lifetime option, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes as well. But this is what you get. So this is just for the webinar deal. So normally this is a lot more expensive. If you look at the website, you'll see the price that it normally sells for. This is not some sort of false like sales pitch that we're making here. It really does sell for $1,100 normally. And this is the futures options safeguard trades and the strangles that we're talking about. So you get both the safeguards with the hedges, and you get the strangles as well that we talked about earlier. And so again, this is an annual subscription. it only takes a few minutes a week, and this is like key in my opinion. Like you can make more potentially if you do other strategies, but this takes almost no time. So why not do this, right? Like it's stupid not to do it. Basically, you can make the subscription that we're offering tonight back in 2 trades, even if you have a smaller account, 30, 40, 50,000, you can still make that money back very, very quickly. So to me, this is a strategy that most people really don't know about. I didn't know about it, and I've been trading for a decade or so. And so this is something that you really should learn, in my opinion. So what do you get? Well, you get the trade entries and exit on Discord. So you get these alerts delivered via the Discord app. So a lot of people always wonder if they're going to get like text messages or emails. Nope, it's via the Discord app. We also help a lot of people with that. So we talk about how to make sure you get push notifications for like specific channels to your phone. So this is as good as any SMS or email that you can possibly get. If you're not familiar with Discord, occasionally we get people who are like, oh, I hate this Discord app thing. We also talk people through that and help people with like the alerts and make sure they're getting everything. It takes up a lot of time and effort, but we do it. So it's always good. There's been no losing trades in the Safeguard trade strategy since inception, and the average return has been 3% per trade. Like I said, very passively. So you're really not doing any work for this, and that's the key, right? You're not getting 20% a month, but you're getting like free money essentially. I hate to use that term, but that's how I feel about it. It feels like free money to me. So it sounds silly, but it's true. The main thing here with Lance is that you do get this trade management advice. So Lance is always available to talk to. I can't believe what this guy does. He like teaches full time, but also is able to help people full time on Theta Traders as well. It's ridiculous, and he helps me all the time as well with my stuff. So it's always good. The focus is on education. So there's lots of video courses, e-guides, and of course like that discussion with Lance. He always answers private messages and all this type of thing. So it's always good. And again, there's a dedicated Discord chat channel with direct access to Lance for guidance and questions. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. It's like free money. It's passive. It's very, very passive income. You might as well do this rather than not. Even if you don't think this is life-changing money, it still is better to do it than not to do it, in my opinion. And, you know, I'm part of many, many, many different groups, but I still do Theta Traders because it just makes sense to do it. It works. So, yeah. One of the other key things here is that we didn't talk about too much is these trades are very non-directional. So the market can move 5% up, 5% down, even 10% up or 10% down. And often these trades are absolutely like fine. Like there's no change in them. Whereas everybody is getting shaken out saying, hey, I just lost 50% of my account because the market pulled back. Like that happened recently. It pulled back a bit, consolidated, and is continuing. But like a lot of people were telling me, oh, I lost 50% of my account. Well, suddenly 3, 4, 5% a month using Theta Traders doesn't seem so bad, right? Like you're actually making money with no effort, essentially, apart from the initial learning curve. And basically you're making money even if the market does pull down 5%. I don't know what the percentage we pulled down recently was, but I saw a lot of people freaking out, losing money, quitting trading. I saw all the metrics on all my sites and everything that I run drop because everybody was freaking out, and it was barely a blip. The market barely pulled down. In Theta Traders, we didn't even notice it. It was barely noticeable because the trades are all hedged and they're all very much time decay based rather than directional trading based. So anyway, that's all I've got on that. That's the annual. It's only $597. The link's in the comments, so you can check that out. To me, this is a complete bargain. You could spend 10 times this much and be given some crazy course where you basically have to crackhead day trade and waste all your time and energy and still lose money. So for me, this is like giving away the house at $597 for a year. We do have a lifetime option. I'll put that link in the comments as well. And you can always get that from Lancerai as well. And it's $997, so that's a one-time payment. It's good for the life of the service, which we're not going anywhere. We're just getting started, right, Lance?
Yes, I'm just answering questions as they come in on the chat. So let me just address it first. For Safeguard trades, you get the Safeguard strategy. Every 2 weeks, we're going to be campaigning in the two naked puts with the put debit spread. You also get the covered strangles strategy. You also get regular strangles too. I didn't address it in this presentation, but the weeks that we don't do the Safeguard trade, you'll get the regular strangle trades as well. And I left the link for the lifetime payment. The yearly payment that Russell has is $597 per year, but the next year you'll have to pay another $597 to keep access. We lowered the rate for lifetime access for ThetaTraders.com, and that is a one-time payment of $997, which normally goes for $1197. So you get another discount there. Some people are asking, is this the Inner Circle? Inner Circle is this with stocks and with other commodities. We currently don't have a link for a discount on that right now, but if you email me at just my email I posted on the comment section, we could work something out on that as well.
Yeah, let me just pull up ThetaTraders.com because this can get confusing. I want to make sure this is really clear to people. So if you head over to ThetaTraders.com, you can see it. You should be able to see it on my screen, at least at the moment. The trade that we're talking about right now is we have these different tiers. So you can see like there's the quarterly at the bottom here. This is just for equities. And so this is just for 0DTE, SPX, and SPY, put credit spread alerts. So that's only $197 every 3 months. You can always get started with that. If you're not sure about us or Lance or the strategies, this is not what we talked about tonight, but it's also a really good strategy. So you could always get started with that. Consistent passive profits is the next level up. Normally it's $11.97 one-time payment. It's lifetime. You can see for yourselves. You go and browse that what you get with that. And then the safeguards is also $11.97 too, which is what we've been mainly talking about tonight as well. And then the Inner Circle, which we call lifetime. So we have to be careful here, and this is something that we should probably work on, Lance. Is this is really what we'd call the Inner Circle. This is everything that ThetaTraders offers as a lifetime one-time payment, but we also do payment plans on this as well. We try and accommodate people. We're not trying to rip people off or have people spend all their life savings on things in one go. So if you're interested in doing everything that ThetaTraders has to offer, not just what we've talked about tonight, but everything, you can also just email Lance or myself and we can do like a payment plan. Like sometimes we do like $200 a month for, 5 months or 8 months or whatever it comes out to, whatever deal we work out with you guys. We're usually happy to bargain and kind of negotiate and make sure everybody is happy on both sides of the deal. So Lance puts a lot of time into this though, so we're not going to give away the farm just because Lance is probably the hardest working guy in this niche that I've ever met, and I've talked to some of the top guys, and this is something that I highly recommend. So
with a teacher job on top.
right. Somehow you do better than like the guys that are making millions of dollars selling subscriptions, but you're giving better service, and you're also working a full-time job where those guys are living off subscription fees.
A lot of the newer members the last few months were like, I don't know how you do all this.
I don't know how you do it either.
Very, very passionate about helping others. So that's why I do
it. Yeah. So it doesn't look like the person who won is still on unless I don't see anybody saying, yes, I won the subscription. Not seeing anything like that. So, yeah, so just looking through the other questions, looks like you're answering everything in the comments here. Steve, we started in 22.
Yeah, we'll stick around another 10 minutes or so. If anyone has any other questions, I could answer them via my voice instead of typing.
Yeah. So that's a good question. Tom's asking, is the deal for the safeguard trades and the passive profits? It's not right.
Safeguard trades. These are the covered strangles, safeguard, and regular strangles. It actually gives quite a bit more than the consistent passive profits membership that we have. So if you are interested, you probably just want to do the Inner Circle for everything. I know you're already a 5K member, so we could send you a custom plan for that.
Yeah, we also try and put people's, if you're already a member of the basic like 5K challenge or the 3-month equities plan, we also put money towards the lifetime, for example. So if you want to upgrade to lifetime and you've already paid $497 for the 5K challenge or something, we deduct that from the lifetime one-time payment, and then we can do a payment plan. So we're really flexible. Probably to our detriment, we're overly flexible in terms of payment and making sure that everybody's happy. So so if you are interested in upgrading, we're flexible in how we do that. Steve's saying, go to your site, McAfee alerted not to visit. I don't know why it does that with different sites. So I run a lot of websites, and some people tell me that with some sites, and some people tell me it's fine. And this one's not hosted by me, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with the site. It's, I know the guy that's hosting it really well. There's no viruses. There's nothing going on with the website. It's just antivirus software being silly.
Yeah.
So JJ says, seems like we're all confused on this pricing. Just ask us what the confusion is. I mean, this is we have the different plans, and tonight we're offering the Safeguard Trades tier alone, but you can sign up for the other ones if you want.
Yeah, if you go to thetatraders.com, you'll see each option that we have and what you get access to. If you look at the Safeguard Trade plan there, you can see everything that's involved there. We're just having to do a yearly payment for Safeguard if you are interested in just 1 year, and then possibly renew it afterwards, or just let it lapse at that point.
It's weird because like sometimes we get people saying they're getting errors on sites and things, but we still make a lot of sales. So people are not seeing this error. Like a lot of people are not seeing any problem when they go to the website, but then the occasional person will. So it's hard to address that, like I get it all the time. Oh, I go to your link and it's saying it's a spam link or something. And then I ask 10 other people and they're like, yeah, it's fine. There's no problem. So I don't know what to say about the problem. I mean, I don't think it's a systemic problem. It's probably, Steve, it's probably because if you could email it to Lance or myself, it would be interesting to see, but it might be, maybe you have like higher settings for privacy, or one of these like settings might be higher than other people's, but some sort of like, I don't know. Sounds like
We'll look into it, Steve. Thank you.
That's still what I assume, Steve, that you are a tech head, that you probably are much more aware of these things than the average person. So you're probably more secure than most people. But yeah, thank you for your input, though. We'll definitely look into it and see if we can somehow get around that. I don't really know how, but yeah.
Any other questions? We got a few more minutes. We don't want to run this too long. We know some people are in England watching this in the middle of the night.
Here comes the Black Swan event.
Yeah.
I love the Black Swan event. It's kind of a joke, isn't it? Like how much.
I mean, there is a possibility it'll happen. I mean, it does happen about 1-2 times every 10 years or so. I personally hedge quite a bit of my account to deal with these. We're not going to have a profit on the total account because you will lose on some of these trades, but the hedges will help cushion the blow a bit. And I have a very specific hedging strategy. We've done live streams about hedges as well, if you look at Russell's channel, and everyone gets access to the hedge plan and strategies that I do there, no matter what membership you have.
JJ, we gave up on trials. So what happened, we were doing a 2-week trial, and then we reduced it down to a 1-week trial, and Lance was inundated. We were just getting dozens and dozens of people nonstop coming in, putting in credit card information that bounced, asking Lance every question under the sun, taking up all of his time for like nonstop for the whole week or 2 weeks that they get for free. And so we completely got rid of any free trials because we have hundreds of members now. We have plenty of people on payment plans, and Lance doesn't need, people that are not serious about taking, people are not prepared to put up like $197 for 3 months or $497 or $597. Like we really Lance is already swamped, so we're not doing trials anymore on this. It's just not. We're just not. So, yeah.
If you could post Vera's question real quick, because we get this one a lot.
Vera's question about paying system.
So we pay for lifetime subscription for Safeguard, and then you want to upgrade your Inner Circle. Yes, we will use whatever you pay as a credit for other services. So if you did pay for one and you want to upgrade to the other, we use that payment as part of what you paid totally. I know a lot of other plans don't necessarily do that, and other alert services, they want to nickel and dime you for every single service, and you got to pay the full amount of this one and the full amount of that one. We want to work with you guys. A lot of people will end up being like a quarterly member or just Safeguard member, and then they want the full gambit, and we use what you pay as a credit. So yes.
So yeah, you can email, you can either message. I don't know, you guys come from all over, so you can, if you're in the Facebook group that I run, you can talk to them there. You can talk to us in the Discords if you're in any of the Discords that Lance or I are in.
Right.
You can email Lance. It's on the website. The email for Lance. You can email me at stockalertsreviewed@protonmail.com. There's lots of different ways to reach out and ask about deals or whatever.
You could post Steve's question because I already do help people with it. So he was saying, interested in a lifetime deal. The next thing, work with you using SPX versus futures. And yes, I do help people with that as well. Some people have larger accounts that have portfolio margin. You could do all of these strategies using SPX as well. And I'll go over the pros and cons of using one or the other. It could make more sense to use SPX if you have a large account. Some people will use ES primarily, some will use SPX. And then there's a lot of interesting things that we don't have time right now to talk about it, but I could definitely talk one-on-one with you, Steve, on different BIL or buying T-bills off your account size, which you could do really interesting things with SPX and a portfolio margin account.
So actually, the link I just posted, I posted a link to the annual, but then also to the lifetime as well. But it looks like it kind of joined them together. So let me post them separately. If you want to join the Safeguard tier for the discount tonight, then just for the annual, and a lot of people just want to do that because it's not much money. It's $5.97, right? So that's the annual for the trades, and you can look at thetatraders.com to see what you get for that. And then I'll just post the lifetime link here as well, which is the same thing, but you only pay one time, and it's only $9.97 rather than having to keep paying every year. And we have the biggest retention rate for any service I've ever been fortunate to work with in terms of people staying. They stay. Like, people come to thetatraders.com and they stay members and they continue to trade. There's no churn like you see in a lot of these other day trading rooms and things. People the people in the community is very dedicated and they stay and take these trades. So
yep, definitely agree. Looks like that's pretty much all the questions here. So definitely appreciate all of you guys watching. If you watched the full hour, 10 minutes or so. If you have any other questions, you could send me an email. I'll leave it in the chat. If you are interested in any other programs like Lifetime Inner Circle for everything, feel free to send me an email as well, and we can work with you on that.
Yeah, JJ, the $5.97 is for an annual for the Safeguard, so you get access to all the stuff mentioned in that tier. So yep.
I also do a one-on-one Zoom call with you guys if you do the Safeguard trade. I don't know if I mentioned it on here. Yeah, we do monthly group Zoom meetings. Yeah, so every month we'll talk about either Safeguard or covered strangles or credit spreads for stocks. And I usually leave it open for a large question and answer session. During the summer and the next few months, I won't be teaching, so I'll have a little bit more free time during the day to help with that stuff as well. We also get the strategy guides, which I didn't mention. Strategy guides are very detailed. We have video guides and ebook strategy guides that I've made the videos, written all these documents out. You also get access to me in the Discord if you have any quick questions for one-on-one help, or if you have a group type question where people are wondering, how do you place the trade? This trade is at a good profit. Should I close it early? I get questions like this all the time, and I definitely like helping out with that. So when I'm available, which is pretty regularly, I'll answer. Yeah, if I'm doing a chemistry lab, it might be a little bit of time. But we do have a lot of helpful members. We're at over 300 members now, and a lot of other beginner, intermediate, expert option sellers here. So if anything, if you want to join a good like-minded community of other people making this passive income, this is a great place to be.
Yeah, and again, a reminder, it is all Discord based. So JJ is saying, is it $5.97 for annual Safeguard? Yes, and it's Discord based, so you've got to be okay with Discord. A lot of people are, but there's still some people out there who have no idea what Discord is, believe it or not. And those people should know that Discord is phenomenal. It's really opened up the world for a lot of people like Lance and myself to offer this type of trading alerts in real time, right? So basically, Discord allows us to send out alerts that you can get on your phone, the same as you would with SMS, but we don't have to worry about how to do that because Discord handles all that with the app and everything. So yeah, so of course the subscription includes the Discord. The Discord is what you're getting. You're getting the Discord channels with the alerts. with the chats with Lance, and Lance usually goes above and beyond and ends up Zoom calling with everybody. And
Yeah.
I don't want to say that because everybody will expect it, but like that's usually what happens. So.
Yeah, I know. In like early March, we got flooded, so I was doing a lot of group Zooms, like way more than one a month. There, it was probably much like 2 or 3 a week at that point.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys. I think we've had a good discussion tonight. I think it's we're going to probably run this discount for what day is it today? I've lost track of all days.
We're going to do it until Sunday this week.
Okay.
Some members are already aware of this, but we are giving a 7-day free trial to the Safeguard trades starting on Friday. So we'll leave this offer open until Sunday so they could see the actual Safeguard trade I'm doing on Friday. If you're still a little under the fence on this and you want to see a sample Safeguard trade, you could sign up for a quarterly membership by Friday. And if you're a member of ThetaTraders.com and any access, you will see all the Inner Circle trades for a 1 week sneak peek there.
That's a really good point. So if you look at the screen now, the quarterly subscription is only $197 for 3 months, but you're only getting these trades. So you're not getting any of the future stuff. However, if you sign up for the quarterly this week, you'll then get a free trial to what we've been talking about. So if you really don't want to pay the $5.97, and I think you're kind of silly if you don't, because honestly, it's a great deal. But if you really don't want to, and you just want to get a glimpse into what we do, the $197 entry on ThetaTraders.com, if you do it this week, you'll also get a free trial starting on Friday to the whole of Theta Traders, which includes everything we've talked about tonight and more. So this is kind of the entry level, $197 for 3 months, and you'll get that. So we don't do this very often because we get flooded with so many people. It's ridiculous, and Lance just wants to just quit doing this because it gets so overwhelming. But he stays dedicated to it because he's Lance somehow. I don't know how he does it, but yeah. So
JJ, we're doing a 7-day trial starting on Friday. So I'm going to be going over every single type of trade I do for Inner Circle members. If you sign up for the quarterly by Friday, you'll see all these for a 7-day trial as well. And then you still get access for the whole quarter on Stockbase anyway. So.
Yeah, and remember, you if you do the quarterly trial for $197, and then you launch into the free trial for the Inner Circle, so everything, we'll take that $197 off of anything if you upgrade. So if you upgrade to one of the other tiers, we take that $197 and apply it as credit. Or if you do 6 months, we'll take 2 times the $197 and apply it to credit after 6 months. So we try and make this as fair as possible, and people don't end up paying like too much, but enough to make sure that this is worth Lance's time, which is extremely valuable. So, yeah.
Right.
All right.
Any other questions? And hour 15 minutes. That's typical for us on these.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. Let's wrap it up there. You guys know where to contact us. We can do, if you want to email me, it's stockalertsreviewed@protonmail.com, or just leave a comment on the video or in the Facebook groups, or email Lance directly through the website at thetatraders.com. Let me just put that in, HTTPS, thetatraders.com. Or if you're in the Discords like Sidekick Traders or Theta Traders already, but on the lower plans, just obviously message Lance directly through the Discords. So yeah. All right, I think we should wrap up there. Thanks, guys, for watching and sticking around. There's still people here, even though we've done the giveaway, which is surprising. Usually everybody leaves as soon as the giveaway's done, so it's good.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thanks for watching, everybody. Again, feel free to leave us any questions. You can leave a comment or send us an email. And we'll work with you on any type of plans that you're interested in besides Safeguard if you are.
All right, have a good night, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.